Hello and welcome to Rathods IS Academy. Today in this session we are going to see current affairs of 20th November 2024. So let's get started, and actually there are many articles which are relevant from our examination point of view in our today's newspaper. So let us see each and every article which is relevant from our examination point of view. Yes, see this article, guys. Yeah, say this article. Putin says new Russian nuclear doctrine. So what is the keyword? What is the doctrine? Nuclear doctrine. So what is this nuclear doctrine is about? Do India have any nuclear doctrine? Yeah, what is India's nuclear doctrine? No first use. Okay, next. Next. Okay, so why Russia is coming up with new nuclear doctrine now? What might be the reason, guess? So what is happening in Russia? Russia-Ukraine war is happening, right? So can you tell me from at least approximate date of starting of this war between Russia and Ukraine? Anyone? February 2022. Okay, so on this date the Russia-Ukraine war had been started. So it had been like 1000 days today. So here, because of this 1000 days, so finally President of Russia came up with a new doctrine. And even one more reason here is what happened in US. Elections. Who came into power? Trump. So actually one more statement made by US is going to support more for Ukraine for this Russia-Ukraine war. So because of this, finally Russia came up with this new nuclear doctrine. Okay, so here there may be a question which may come in your examination regarding India's nuclear doctrine. Okay, you have to focus on India's nuclear doctrine. So UPSC may not give directly the question regarding this new doctrine of Russia, but there is a chance of getting question in your mains regarding what is India's nuclear doctrine. Okay, that is no first use policy. Okay, let us see here. So from which topic or from which subject we can say this? From GS paper 3, Science and Technology. So in Science and Technology you have to know about nuclear technology. So in this nuclear technology, what are the dimensions that you have to see? Like you have to see which is the material that we are using, that is raw material. So which kind of raw materials that we can use in this nuclear weapons? Raw material. Uranium. Next, that too which radio isotope of uranium? Isotopes of uranium. You might have studied in your chemistry in +2. What? Next. 230. Rashmita? Ravi? Science and Technology is done. I won't say. Okay, so other than uranium, which material we can use? Other than uranium? Thorium. Next, plutonium and thorium. So in India, do we have uranium resources? In which area? Recently it had been identified. But what about exploration process? Whether it had been started? No. So especially we have thorium reserves in our country. So especially in which area we have this thorium reserves? In 2022 there was a question regarding this thorium. It is present in which kind of sand? Monazite sand. And this monazite sand is very highly located in state of? Yes, Kerala. Okay, so you have to know about especially raw material, the fissile material that we are using, and you have to see types of nuclear reactors. So tell me types of nuclear reactors, different stages of nuclear reactors. Come on, nuclear reactors. So at least tell me which kind of nuclear reactor is in use from the recent past. Even our budget, they said something about this. Small modular reactors, okay. Small modular reactors is in use. So what are the advantages of the small modular reactors over other reactors? Machinery is very small and even efficiency is very more. Next, we discussed about more advantages. Tell me now, at least recall something. And one more question, with which country we are going to have this agreement regarding development of small modular reactors? Which is in news, I think 15 to 20 days ago. Brunei, very good, Brunei. So with Brunei, we are going to have the technology transfer regarding this small modular reactors. Okay, so in this way, if you are getting a single word in your newspaper, try to retry whatever the earlier current affairs in news, and as well as you have to connect with your subject. And again, you have to know about what are the advantages and disadvantages of this nuclear technology. Okay, and here it is talking about nuclear doctrine. That means the countries which are having this technology of this nuclear bombs, then only they will be having this kind of doctrines, right? So can you tell me some examples of countries which are having this nuclear technology? India, very good. USA, China, Korea, North Korea, next, Russia, next, which countries? Japan. So see the countries which are having this nuclear technology, and any group, any international group which is related to this nuclear bombs, whether India part of that. So if we want to develop this nuclear bombs, then we need uranium for sure. So can we get uranium easily from other countries? Then what is the criteria? It should be the part of one group. What is that group? NSG, nuclear supplier group. So in that nuclear supplier group, whether India is part of it? No, India is not the part of NSG. So because of that, we are not getting proper uranium resources. So because of this reason, now we are using thorium as a fissile material in this nuclear technology. Clear? Okay. And here you have to see even about Russia-Ukraine crisis, and because of this Russia-Ukraine war, what is the impact on India? So it had been 1000 days, right? So in these 1000 days, so what was the impact on India? Yes, fuel price, because we are getting price from, oil or crude oil from this Russia. Apart from this, edible oil, okay, sunflower oil especially we are getting from Ukraine. So that prices had been altered. Next, what happened from these 1000 days? What was India's stance on foreign policy? Is it neutral now? Earlier it is neutral, but now it is also brokering peace process between Russia and Ukraine. So you can give example of recent visit of our Prime Minister to Ukraine. Next, so what is happening? Think, you can do it. Okay, let us see this article clearly. So here, President of Russia has signed a revised nuclear doctrine declaring that any conventional attack on Russia supported by a nuclear power is seen as a joint attack. So if any country which is a nuclear powered country, so earlier I said that you have to know about the countries that are having this nuclear technology. Why? Because, so in this new doctrine here, Russia is saying that if there is any conventional attack, any attack which had been done by a nuclear power on this Russia, it is considered as a joint attack. And this new policy was announced on 1000th day of this Russia-Ukraine war, which is coinciding with US President decision to allow Ukraine to strike deeper into the Russia. Even earlier President of US and now new President, they are providing financial assistance and equipment, etc. for this Ukraine to fight against this Russia. And one more thing here is, in this doctrine, here President of this Russia says that a massive aerial attack on Russia could also provoke a nuclear response if any country is supporting this Russia-Ukraine war, or if any country is supporting Ukraine and if they are doing any aerial attack on Russia, then we are going to start using of nuclear arsenals, that is nuclear bombs. So that is about this new Russian doctrine. Okay, now let us see each and every point clearly. So the signing of this doctrine, which illustrates that there is increasing of tensions. There is increasing of tensions between Russia and as well as West. Now especially Russia is focusing on Western nuclear powered countries, which are supporting this Ukraine in this war. And next one here is that will lead to dangerous escalation in even military confrontation, and that may also leads to nuclear war. Okay, so next important one here is with updated nuclear doctrine of Russia, Russia is signaling more aggressive nuclear posture, and which could deter Western nations from further military support to Ukraine. So whenever Russia is declaring this kind of doctrines, it will try to stop the assistance which is provided to this Ukraine regarding this Western countries, and because they will be having the fearing of nuclear response from Russia. And next one here is there is a vague language which is given by this Russian president. It constitutes a critical threat, but they don't give the exact definition like, so which is that nuclear power country, so which kind of attacks, so how it is going to do deterrence, so those things which are not given. So it is a very vague statement given by this president. Involvement as a collective aggression, Russia is further isolating the alliance and framing its military actions as defensive and politically rallying the domestic support. So actually why this issue had happened between Russia and Ukraine? So one important primary reason is Ukraine want to join this NATO. Okay, so what was this NATO? So if you go to 1960s, so during this 1960s we had a Cold War. So during this Cold War time we have two power blocks. So one power block led by USA and another power block led by USSR. So at that time USA came up with this concept called as NATO, that is, what is NATO? North Atlantic Treaty Organization. So what are the features of this treaty? So if the countries which are members of this treaty, if any country which is attacking this, it is against the complete group and the complete group will be fighting against that. So to oppose this, USSR came up with this Warsaw Pact. So actually Russia and Ukraine, they are sharing boundary. If Ukraine is joining this NATO, what happened? NATO forces will be standing across the border of Russia and Ukraine. So it is not at all good for Russia. So because of this, Russia started war against this Ukraine. So actually here most of the Western countries, they are part of this NATO. And even there is a high chance of getting question regarding the recent members who joined this NATO, especially two European countries also joined this NATO recently, like 6 to 8 months back. So you have to see NATO membership and what are the objectives of this NATO and some basic facts and which are the countries recently joined this NATO. Okay, so that is the thing which mainly said. Okay, see this article. India-China discuss return of flights at G20 summit. So what is this article is about? India-China relations. So what is happening in this recent past regarding India-China relations? What are the advancements? Come on, tell me. Okay, across LAC from 2020 onwards we are having issues, but recent past we had an agreement of de-escalation. Okay. So can you tell me the areas which are under conflict between India and China? Yes, Doklam, next. Dipson Plains, Demchuk Valley region and patrolling points across LAC. Okay, so what is this article? India and China discuss return of flights. What happened to these flights? What happened to these flights between India and China? They are saying that return of flights. That means the flight services had been stalled between India and China because of this issue. Okay, so from which subject you will be dealing with this? From GS paper 2 under international relations. And you have to see recent developments. So from 2020 onwards, we are going for number of level of talks, number of rounds of talks between different authorities. But even though there is no stand-up. So now in 2024, in the month of October, so we had lot of development. So there may be a chance of getting prelims question regarding this area. Especially you have to see map between India and China and which are the areas which are under conflict between India and China. We have western sector, central sector and eastern sector. You have to see that map. So if you draw map here, so here we have issue that is LAC region, and here we have issue that is central sector, and this part comes under western sector, and here they are claiming entire Arunachal Pradesh which comes under eastern sector. So what they are doing is, so China is developing villages. They are called as model villages across this Arunachal Pradesh border. So whenever they are developing model villages across which are very much near to our border, it will be very easy for claiming of entire Arunachal Pradesh for them. So to counter this, India is also come up with a policy called as Vibrant Village Program. So in this Vibrant Village Program, we are training our communities. Okay, apart from that, we are also developing infrastructure by using this broader road organization. Okay, so these are the two things which are doing by our country to counter this policy of China of occupying the many regions. Okay, now let us see this article. So India and China discussed the resumption of flights. So we are going to restart the flights between India and China, and it is one of the another bilateral issues between India and China. Not only border issues, but even flights had been stalled, and we are going to resume this flights between India and China now. So here actually recent developments you can see, that is this engagement of troops along line of actual control, and in this way whenever we are going for resumption of the flights, obviously we can enhance bilateral cooperation between the countries, and as well as we can maintain peace. It is very important, right? So we can maintain peace, and as well as we can enhance cooperation between these two countries. And even they are going for further discussions regarding visas, regarding pilgrimage access. So in future classes we will be going to see that. Okay, now let us see the important points that are given here. So this dialogue indicates that from both the nations, from India and China, they are willing towards engagements constructively. And actually we want to move away from our previous tensions we are having between India and China. And especially whenever you are having this kind of discussions and clearing of the issues between India and China, we can focus on regional stability. And next one here is actually from COVID-19 time onwards. Actually this COVID-19 started from which area? China, and that too which name of that place where it had been started? Wuhan. Okay. So from this COVID-19 onwards, there is lack of direct flights between India and China. So because of this, it is mainly affecting the diplomacy and as well as international relations between India and China. So whenever we are restoring this kind of links between India and China, if you are having the direct flights, we can also enhance people to people connection. It is very important. Even for doing medicine also, Indians are going to China, right? Okay, and even many people, they are shifting to China because they need more surplus of labor. And next one here is, even India is consistent in a stance against unilateral dominance, which reflects its commitment to balanced foreign policy. So actually India do not want to become like a big brother, okay? It is not showing like that much attitude. So because of this, we are focusing on strengthening of ties with the different countries. So especially if you see our president, he is on 3 countries visit in Africa especially, and even you can see recent visit of our Indian diplomats to Indonesia, Malaysia, Brunei, and even Saudi Arabia. Kim came to India. So like that, we are having lots and lots of improvements that are happening in our foreign policy, and we are making good relations with the different countries. So because of this, international relations is becoming very vast. And students, if you want to take PSIR, you have to focus on this international relations, and that will be very vast. So think once before taking this PSIR as an optional. And next one here is, if we are going for resuming of flights, we will be having some economic implications. So if you are having flights, we can improve the trade, we can improve the movement of the people between India and China, so that what happened, we can focus on post-pandemic recovery as well. And even if you are going for giving of more visas and tourist places, especially some pilgrimage places, that will also help for cultural preservation between these two countries as well. For example, sacred sites like Kailash Mansarovar. And next one here is, so this kind of diplomacy, or whenever we are going for talks with these countries where we are having conflicts, we can boost our relations. Okay, so that is the thing you have to remember. And say this article, India's vision for free open maritime network is finding resonance across the world. So what is this article talking about? Come on fast, tell me. India's vision for free open maritime network. So what it is focusing on? Maritime network. Okay, so tell me about something that you know about this maritime routes of India. So we are having access to Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea, that is Indian Ocean directly. Okay, so if you are having Indian Ocean access, then what will be the advantage for India? We can have the maritime access. So maritime is related to water or sea. So recently we discussed about operation of one important corridor. What is that corridor? Chennai to Vladivostok Maritime Corridor. So there I said about some advantages of this corridor. What are the advantages of this corridor? Chennai Vladivostok Corridor. Trade increase, time will be reduced, and even transportation cost is reduced and more effective. Next, we can access good markets, international markets, further improving of exports of the country and overall economic development. Apart from that, I said about IMEEC. What is IMEEC? India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor. So that includes both rail and water. That can be added under this maritime trade network, right? So whenever we are having this kind of corridors, obviously we can increase our economic potential. So this article is saying that India is focusing on free and open maritime networks. So what about free? Free means, what is the problem in this maritime area? Piracy. Yes, piracy is nothing but hijacking of ships or containers or boat, whatever it may be. So what are the steps India is taking for the free, ensuring of free maritime route? What about Nigeria? So with Nigeria, we came up with memorandum of understanding regarding counter-terrorism and piracy. And apart from that, we have Coast Guard and we have nuclear submarines, which are ensuring safety and security in this Indo-Pacific region. So will you accept that India is having the vision on free maritime and open maritime trade networks? Yes or no? So if you are getting any question regarding, comment on India's vision for free and open maritime network. So can you write some examples, at least 3 to 4 examples regarding free and open maritime network with examples now? With a map of Indo-Pacific region and India's location, and there you have to even show about the recent maritime corridors that we are having, and even you have to show some important choke points. So can you tell me some examples of choke points in this Indo-Pacific region? Malacca Strait, Strait of Hormuz, next, one more. Monica, not getting anything? Are understanding? Okay, so let us see this article and let us see what exactly our Prime Minister is saying about our maritime networks. So our Prime Minister, he emphasized on importance of oceans and also shared heritage and lifelines of trade at Sagar Manthan. So actually we are having this, the Great Oceans Dialogue Summit. So write down. So Great Ocean Dialogue Summit. So in this Great Ocean Dialogue Summit, our Prime Minister emphasized on the importance of oceans and as well as shared heritage and as well as lifelines of trade. So if we are not having this ocean routes or sea routes, can we ensure proper trades? No. So try to use this kind of keywords, lifelines of trade. Okay, and he also highlighted that India has doubled its ports capacity. We are going for development of our logistics. So can you tell me one program which India is focusing on improving of ports? Go to economy, guys. Tell me the schemes. Sir said about this. Huh? What? PM Gati Shakti, okay, logistics. I am talking about especially ports. Sagarmala project. Okay, so through that project, especially government is focusing on improving of port and as well as logistics sector, so that we can enhance our efficiency and as well as connectivity as well. And even our government is having a vision of free and open maritime network. And especially we had increased our focus on Indo-Pacific region. So because of increasing of our maritime network nowadays, especially Western countries, they are looking towards India, right? So or else why these countries will look at India? No. So if they are going to get any benefit, then only they will be involving. So always there is nothing free in this 21st century, everything is give and take concept only. Okay, so that is the thing, especially because of our increased focus on this Indo-Pacific region, and especially we are also leveraging marine resources for growth. Now European countries or the Western countries, they are looking towards India and they are having good engagement with India, especially so that they can ensure their presence in Indonesia, Indo-Pacific region. So actually let us see the important points here. So oceans is served as a shared heritage and we need to collaborate international policies. So if you want to ensure sustainable maritime practices, obviously we need international cooperation. For example, if there is any country which is sharing the boundary with that, so we need to have the proper collaboration with that countries so that we can ensure sustainable maritime practices in that region. And next one here is doubling of the port capacity signifies that yes, we are focusing on enhancing of trade and India will be going to become as a maritime hub soon. And even you can see that Andaman Nicobar, where it is located? Andaman Nicobar. So one more example for port development. Tell me in Andaman and Nicobar region. Galatia port. Okay. So here we are going to come up with even ports and development in this ecologically sensitive region, that is in Nicobar region. So you can take that example that we are also enhancing our trade routes even in this Andaman and Nicobar, so that we will be having more access to the other important regions. And next one here is we are also focusing on improved logistics and as well as infrastructure through PM Gati Shakti scheme, so that we can increase the trade. That is essential for our economic growth. And next one here is we are also focusing on increasing of global resonance of India's maritime vision. For example, recently we came up with opening of Chennai-Vladivostok corridor, and even we are talking about IMEEC. So those are examples of global maritime vision of India. And next one here is India's maritime legacy also serves as a motivational cornerstone for current policies. So actually we are also increasing our national pride and as well as international cooperation as well. So if you are coming up with this kind of corridors with the other countries, obviously we have to increase this international cooperation, right? So that is the thing which mainly said here. And even marine resources are very, very important for the growth. So we are especially focusing on marine resources because they are the growth pillar. So they will be highlighting about the potential for economic development in this Indo-Pacific region. Okay, you know about this international participation. Okay, see these articles, guys. India and Italy to negotiate defense industrial roadmap focus on maritime sector. Again, one more article regarding maritime sector. So this year mostly the question will be there in your mains regarding maritime sector, because India is focusing more on this maritime sector, and to counter China also it is very important. Okay, tell me where is this Italy located? So in which continent it is part of? Hi Hema, after many days. How are you? We all? Shocked and shaked. But I didn't see that reaction in you. Inside. Okay. So tell me in which continent we have this Italy? So do this Italy have access to any ocean or sea? Whether it is a coastal country or not, whether it is a landlocked country, come on, imagine map in your brain. Italy, what is the shape of Italy? So do this Italy have this access to any sea or ocean? Tell me, Arvind, Balaji. No idea. Arvind? Hema? No idea. So every day, on which day I said regarding map, how to practice map? Yesterday. Only yesterday? So every day at least see some part of any continent so that you will be getting some idea. So at least whenever you are seeing any continent, at least see which are the countries which are having this maritime, because we are focusing on maritime more. So in future we are going to get more agreements, more MOUs with the countries having maritime boundary, especially Indo-Pacific region. So see countries which are sharing boundary with Indo-Pacific region today. Okay, and one more article here, government allows self-survey of phase 2 of PM Awas Yojana. So what is this PM Awas Yojana? Awas means house. Okay, so can you tell me how many components are there in this scheme? PM Awas Yojana, we have rural and we have urban. Okay, so what is this PM Awas Yojana is about? Okay, providing house. So what is the target year? Huh? Year. Housing for all, year. Target year. Arvind? Okay, so whenever government is coming this kind of scheme, so which sustainable development goal is achieved? Housing for all. Housing for all, sustainable development goal. How many development goals are there? 17. Tell me in that, which sustainable development goal is achieved by this scheme? Monica. I am saying repeatedly, by heart this 17 sustainable development goals, or else you can't write a good answer. And even in any conclusion of your answer, you can include SDGs, because it is very relevant and we have to achieve them by 2030 and we have only 6 years of time. And many reports are saying that it is impossible, especially for India. Tell me. So which sustainable development goal can be achieved? Shh. Rama, tell me. Venkatesh? See this. Today I will be giving you a question on this topic only, then only you will be revising that. Okay, see this article. Act fast to mitigate a disaster in Teesta Valley. Groups urge PM CM. So what is this keyword? Teesta Valley. So where is this river Teesta is located? Teesta is located in India only, but in which states it is flowing? Okay, so what do you know about this Teesta river? Something new. It is West Bengal, okay. So it is a dispute between Bangladesh and India dispute, okay. So Teesta river is also called as sorrow of Bengal. Okay, why it is called as sorrow of Bengal? Sorrow of Bengal, it is not that. Damodar is sorrow of Bengal and Kosi is the sorrow of Bihar. So who said sorrow of Bengal? Do you know about the story of goats? If one goat is going in that direction, so every goats will be going in that direction only. So it should not be goats. Guys, who is giving chorus? Thank you, Monica. So tell me something about this Teesta river, where it is originated. Where is this originated? Originated only Himalayas. I want exact place. Sikkim. Next. Okay, tell me Teesta is the tributary of which river? Teesta river is tributary of which river? So how many Himalayan river systems are there? 3 only. So Indus is not part, keep it aside. So Brahmaputra or Ganga. So which river system it belongs to? Who said? Ganga or Brahmaputra? See this once again. Okay, so this article is saying that Sikkim and West Bengal governments, they are been working regarding saving of this Teesta valley. Actually, the problem with this Teesta is it will be changed in the course of the river. So, what is the course of the river? Course of river. Course of river. The changing of course of river. Huh? What is that? Direction. Okay, change the direction. So, because of this, what happened? It will cause floods. So, because of this, actually, these Teesta river, especially people who are living in the Sikkim and West Bengal, they are trying to protect these areas. So, especially see about this Teesta river. And one more important issue here is Teesta river has been sinking from 2023 onwards. So, because of this, especially Teesta river valley area in this West Bengal, those people are very vulnerable. So, what is the reason for sinking of this valley? Sinking of valley, sinking holes or sinkholes is one of the feature of which landforms? Sinkholes. Sinkholes, what is the meaning of sinkholes? So, which chemical reactions happens? Not riverine. Sinkholes, which landforms? Examples. Aeolian leads to weather or like wind. Wind related landforms are called as aeolian. So, how wind is related to this? When water is reacting with calcium carbonates, that leads to chemical weathering. That process is called as solution. Okay. So, here groundwater leads to this formation of sinkholes. So, can you tell me some landforms related to groundwater, erosional and depositional? Stalactites, stalagmites and pillars. Karst topography. So, here the karst topography is happening in this region. It is one of the important disasters that is happening in this Teesta valley. So, here we have to see about this Teesta river. Okay, see this article, prison tag. Prison tag, what is this? GPS for prisoners. It is nothing but electronic tracking for whom? Who are accused or who are under trial. Okay. So, already we discussed this topic. Just let us see only. So, see this introduction part. Supreme Court Center for Research and Planning released a report, and in this report it suggested for using of electronic tracking devices, especially for under trial prisoners of our country. Okay, so who are under trials? You know that, right? So, who are under trials? Under trials means what? They are like? Okay, very good. So, actually this kind of technology is used in US, Canada and UK, Malaysia, Australia. So, remember these countries. So, in the same way we have to implement this. So, this is a suggestion given by Supreme Court. Okay, what will be the advantage of using these tags? Tell me, Monica. Advantage. Okay, decreasing of overcrowding of prisons, because actually the capacity is just 100, but now we are having 131% they are present. Okay, there is 131% of occupancy rate in our prisons. Next. Come on, what about the cost? Administration, food cost, obviously decreased. Next. We can maintain standard of living of prisons if you are controlling this overcrowding. Next. Even we can decrease conflicts. Next. Don't you watch movies, guys? Tell me examples. So, we can reduce overcrowding and we can decrease the cost. That will be cost effective because we can't maintain this large prison population. And next one is we can improve rehabilitation. So, whenever we are tracking these under trial people just only electronically, so they will continue education, they will continue their work, they will be continuing their relation with the family, so that it is very crucial for rehabilitation and reintegration to society. So, just not only we are focusing on punishment, we are making them into reintegrate into our society when we are having this. And even there will be enhanced monitoring. So even if you are keeping this under trails in our jails, so there will be no proper efficient monitoring will happen. But here we can ensure that enhanced monitoring. And what are the concerns, guys? So if you are going with this tax, then what will be the concerns? Every coin has a two sides, not only advantages, even concerns. Tell me the concerns. At least guess. Manufacturing cost. Oh, very good. Next. Privacy concern. Next. Huh? Huh? Societal. People may not accept. Okay, next. Something you are saying. Balaji. Privacy said. Next. Arvind. Vinod. Tell me something. Ravi. Venkatesh. Nadisha. Diseases. What diseases? Yes, misuse to some extent, okay, because that can be tracked. Okay, so first one here is privacy concerns and technological challenges and even human rights concerns and implementation challenges. Okay, see this article. A consistent response. Air pollution in Delhi demands a serious and immediate response. So what is happening in Delhi? Why it is in news? Why we discussed in yesterday's class? Bad air quality. Next. What is the CAQM is doing? Okay, that is graded response action plan of 4 should be implemented, but CAQM is not implementing it properly, and there is lack of enforcement, that is punishment is not giving. Okay, so that is the thing which is there here. So if you are a municipal officer, then what is your role? What will you do? Tell me. Case study. Yes, you know, Supreme Court is also insisting your government and asking why you are not taking the steps. For example, you are head of CAQM. Then Supreme Court is ordering you. Then what will be your response, guys? One more time is going on. So what will be the explanation you will be giving to Supreme Court? Needs of? For writing the report or for to think? Only for thinking you need time. Okay, I will ask this question evening. No, ma'am. Why? Okay, see this article. How India could counter CBAM. What is a CBAM? Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism. So which country came up with this? Okay, when it came up with this? In October 2024, and in which year it is going to be implemented? 2026. Okay, so because of implementation of CBAM, why we have to discuss in our class? So it will be affecting what? So how it will be impacting India? So India is the largest carbon emitter in the world. So whatever the goods that will be exporting from our country, they impose tariff. So because of that, what happened? The price will be increased or decreased? Price increased. So whether we can sell more goods there? No. So there will be decreasing of demand for Indian goods in this European markets. So obviously it is affecting our trade. So is that good for India? No. Then how we can counter this CBAM, that is Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism. So what can be done? What can be done? We have to impose restriction on European Union, but tit for tat. Then what happens? Filing of case in WTO. Then what happens? India will be losing in that case, obviously. Then tell me, what can you do, guys, to counter this CBAM? What you will discuss? Can you claim that we are releasing less? No. So what can be done? What is happening now? COP29. So in this COP29, what are the steps can be taken by India? Think. So here for sure there will be a question regarding CBAM in your prelims. You have to focus on that. Especially they may ask a simple question like which country implemented this, like European Union. Or else they may ask about what is this carbon tariff. Or else they may ask about carbon dioxide emission. Or else they may give question regarding which of the following countries are largest carbon emitters in the world. Or else they may ask directly what are the provisions under this carbon border adjustment mechanism. Okay, so in these ways you will be getting questions. Okay, let us see this article in detail. Okay, India views that European Union's carbon border adjustment mechanism, that is CBAM, it is a discriminatory tool because it will be threatening Indian economy, especially some sectors like iron and steel where there is a high carbon dioxide emissions. There are certain industries which will be releasing more amount of carbon dioxide emissions, that is iron and steel industries. So if we are exporting these iron and steel products to European Union, obviously there will be higher tax. So this sectors will be going to be affected. So actually these iron and steel industries which comes under core sectors, right? So obviously if these sectors are affected, entire economy of our country will be get collapsed. So this is a lot of cause of concern for India now. So as the CBAM is set to going to be come into effect from 2026, India is calling for coordinated response from developing countries. So we have to gather these all developing countries which they don't have proper finance, which they don't have proper technology to control this carbon dioxide emissions. And we are focusing on especially equitable emission reduction responsibilities. Now again, after gathering these countries, we have to fight for climate finance and as well as technology transfer in this COP. Okay, we are having 2 years of time. So if you are getting more amount of carbon finance and as well as technology, so that we can address this problem at least to some extent by this 2026, by the time the implementation of this CABM will happen. Okay, so that is the thing. So actually this article is saying that 25% of Indian exports, they are affected by this CBAM. So you have to write this data, 25% of Indian exports are going to be affected by the CBAM. So it is having impact on vital sectors like iron and steel industry. So here this article is saying that we need to have proper strategy to mitigate this economic impacts from 2026. And next one here is India is also calling for coordinated response. It is highlighting that yes, we need unity in developing nations so that we can address this kind of global challenges, especially by protectionist measures. So actually European Union is coming up with this kind of thing to protect their domestic industries. So they know that European Union countries or European countries, they are somewhat having technology, somewhat they are having finance, so that they will be addressing these carbon emissions. So especially developing countries, they don't have proper technology and they are releasing more amount of carbon dioxide emissions. To limit the imports from these countries to European Union, they came up with this. So it is also an example of protectionist measures. So whenever you are getting any question regarding this protectionist measures, because again Trump came into power, so Trump also will be using this protectionist policy itself. So he wants to focus on only development of his domestic industries. So because of this trade war between India and US and China, they had been started because of this protectionist policy only. So here, if you are getting any question regarding this protectionist policy, you have to write about CABM of European Union and as well as Trump policy of trade war. Clear? Am I clear? Are you getting my points? Okay, next one is, if you are going for criticism of the CBAM as discriminatory, it reflects the broader concerns about the fairness in international trade. So actually European Union is the first country to come up with this kind of imposition of tax on carbon emission on the products. So here, because of this, can we ensure fair and free trade? No. So we need equitable solutions, especially this should not be implemented equally for developed and as well as developing countries. So we need to focus on equity, not equality. So this is the point which is focused here. And even European Union also came up with the decision to keep this CBAM revenues for international funding. So it is a part of climate finance. So what is this climate finance? So developed countries, they have to give funding to the developing countries. So what is the target? That is, as of now, it is $100 billion every year. So India increased it to $1.3 trillion every year. So here, how these countries will be funding? That is carrot and stick policy. So what is this carrot and stick policy? They will be giving something sweet on one side and they will be doing something wrong, something sour like that. So actually here, whatever the money they are generating here under this carbon emission tax, so they will be using for climate finance. Okay. So that means they are imposing this tax on India and then they are giving that money to India itself. Okay, in the name of climate finance. Okay, next one here is we have to focus on equity based alternatives, that is we have to give much more time for these developing countries to reach their targets rather than developed countries, right? That we have to take some equity based alternatives. And especially developing countries, they need to get some more time for transition towards renewable energy. Already India is focusing a lot for renewable energy transition. So we are focusing on improving of solar energy, improving of wind energy, etc. In the same way, we need some more time along with the finance and as well as technology so that we can achieve this target. Okay, clear? And even COP29 is also having some implications. So here, as a leader of Global South, India is also fighting for more climate finance in this COP29. And once it is finalized on this November 22, so we will be getting details regarding what are things which are talked in this COP29, and there we will be having much more discussions. Okay, see this article, dangers of high altitude sickness. So what is the keyword? Altitude sickness. What is this altitude sickness? I said about this concept 2 days ago. Chardham project. So what is this Chardham project? Yes, if you are climbing away from the sea level, if you are going height, what happens? Atmospheric pressure increases or decreases? Decreases. So because of this, it is having impact on your blood vessels. Okay, so because of this, you will be getting some altitude signals. So in this altitude sickness, one more thing here is if you are climbing away, even oxygen content is very less. So because of this, especially mountaineers, they will be carrying this oxygen containers because they have to get continuous oxygen. So because of this, what happened? Especially you will be having some stages of altitude sickness. Like first you will be feeling lethargy, you will be feeling giddiness, and at last the burst of the blood vessels will happen and the blood will be bleeding from your nose, your mouth, and as well as your ears like that. Okay. So actually one important problem in this Chardham project here is who will go to this pilgrimage? Youth? No, only elderly people especially. So whenever this elderly people, they are going to this kind of yatras or pilgrimages, so they have to climb. Especially these Chardham projects are there in our Himalayas itself. For example, Yamunotri, Gangotri, Kedarnath and Badrinath. So because of this, they are not capable to acclimatize. So here you have to focus on two words, acclimatization, adaptation. Acclimatize means your body will be changed according to the conditions for a short period of time. Adaptation is nothing but it is for a long period of time. So your body will not be get acclimatized. So because of this, you will be getting altitude sickness. So because of this altitude sickness, many people who are going to this Chardham Yatra, they are dying. That is this topic. Here you have to see just about Chardham project is enough. Clear? So these are the important topics that appeared in our today's Hindi newspaper. So by this I am concluding. Thank you so much guys for watching, and we are providing daily free current affairs quiz and also like daily one mains question and also word of the day in our Telegram channel. So please do join that. Don't forget. And don't forget to subscribe to Rathods IAS Academy.